Well, good evening. Good evening. Hope everybody is doing really well. Tonight is quite an appropriate broadcast. Tonight we're talking about fear, embracing fear, overcoming fear, fear of the unknown, fear of change. And we're live with Ali Shahraki, the founder of Minds to Wealth and the up and coming author of his new book. Ali is also a foreign exchange trader, a cryptocurrency trainer and coach, life coach and wealth coach. So Ali, when we were speaking today about the live show tonight, which forms part, excuse me, my voice is just getting back to being able to speak after being in hospital the weekend with a tonsillitis and the lumps I had all swollen in my throat. So I do as best as I can. But fear is something that is so pertinent and it's so relevant. And just before we come on air, I was explaining to you that I was at the job centre today, interviewing new candidates that we're taking on for this new business launch project that we're currently working on. And everybody that come through had been made redundant. Everybody is in a very difficult position, and it's actually there's so many people that's unemployed and challenged. It's not just business owners or people looking for jobs, but there's this element of fear of change and adaptation. Now, just the audience, so you understand, we've run these shows, which is Ali's show, but we're broadcasting it on our channel, Alfie Best Business Channel. And for next week, Ali will be live on his own shows, his own guests, and we'll be carrying it forward. And I might be on Ali's show next week when he goes live on his channel, and we may be bringing in some guests. But tonight's discussion is about fear. Ali, fear can trap so many people in so many different ways, and it has done through COVID, right? Now, whether people want to admit that they're a bit afraid and they've got to change, or they're not sure which way to go and adjust. Now, I understand that because my business, as everybody knows, was events hospitality. It got crushed during lockdown. How do we help people embrace fear? But I think we've got to be quite specific. Let's talk about business people. And let's talk about business people that might be facing the fear of change in their business, where perhaps their business isn't coming back to strength because of COVID. And let's also focus on business people that are becoming hugely successful through COVID. There's two types of fear. There's the fear of change for those that perhaps are really struggling, and there's perhaps a little bit of fear of change for those that are successful. Now, actually, when people are successful, they don't really fear change, they just really embrace it. But let's talk about fear. And if someone's trapped in a little bit of fear, how can they deal with that fear? How can they overcome?
Well, as Zig Ziglar says, thank you for tonight, Bradley, and I hope your voice get better.
It's getting it. It's getting
Yeah,
it.
last week I had to write by myself, and as Zig Ziglar says, he says, it depends how you're looking at it. The fear, the meaning of the fear to everyone is different, or or forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. That's exactly what Zig Ziglar says, and is your choice. Now, the first step again goes back to you have to understand the meaning of the fear. What does fear mean? What is fear? What do you think the fear is, Bradley? Let's tell a question to our you.
Yeah, listen, great question. So fear, for me,
What do you
fear
think?
comes in different forms. Somebody might be afraid of the dark, so they're
Yes,
afraid of what they can't see.
yes,
Fear may also mean that someone's they're fearful and they're a little bit trapped in terms of the way they're moving forward. They're a little bit reluctant, or they're a little bit scared
yeah,
to move forward because it might mean change.
okay,
Fear might be, sadly or unfortunately, someone that's had a really tough childhood, or they're being trapped or abused by somebody. So there's different meanings of fear.
fear.
But I think all of these scenarios can freeze a person and stop them from reaching their true potential because they're trapped in fear.
Yes, but that doesn't mean this is the meaning of the fear. The fear meaning, actual meaning, is the assumption. Is because we assume something is going to happen. When you are afraid of dark, is because you assume something dangerous or something scary is
Yeah.
inside the room. The reason you're scared to do something because you've been
Yeah.
abused before is because you assume you're gonna get abused again. But guess what? If you stop making assumption, everything is gonna change. Bradley, the day I decided to stop making assumption, right? For example, my wife the other day didn't ask me if I wanted tea or no. and then she made the tea for
She didn't
herself.
ask if you wanted tea.
She always give me tea. She always give me
Come
tea.
deep. Where's Ali's tea,
Yeah, she
man?
didn't
Where's
ask
Ali's
me. And
tea?
I said to her, so where is my tea? She said, I told you are on your diet. You see, she made the assumption and you don't want tea. I said, you see, that could have caused argument. Why didn't you offer tea to me, right? So I said, listen, this is not going to go in argument, but you have to stop making assumption. Because how did you know? You have to ask me. Maybe I want the tea, right? If we stop making assumption, everything is going to be sorted. And then it comes to the imagination. Fear or the picture they created inside your head. If you stop creating this scary movie, which the only bad thing about fear is this, you're creating this scary movie in your head and nobody pays for them, right? Why don't you try? Nobody pays for them to watch them. Why don't you try to create imagination about love, about something beautiful? Why don't you try to focus on love and cares, on making money, on being wealthy, on being rich, something positive? And trust me, people are gonna pay to watch those imagination as they pay me to watch my imagination, you know. But if you are creating those movies, the scary movies and horror movies, but nobody's paying for it, what's the point of creating them? And all comes from assumption, making an assumption of what if I do this and it fails, always assuming the worst instead of thinking this is 50-50. It could go 100% perfect or it could go 100% wrong. What if it goes right and it doesn't go wrong?
Yeah.
That's the meaning of the fear, comes from assumption.
But with fear,
Yeah.
fear is also, I think, where people don't understand something or they don't know how to do something.
Yeah.
Where because we don't know what we don't know until we do it. Now, I've always found this, that when I get myself into a situation where I'm doing something new or launching something new, and
Yes.
listen, most people that have watched or followed the last 18 months or so with me shadowing and listening and learning from Alfie, I've been trying to work my way around where I become the expert in an expert area.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, that something new had happened recently to me, and it's happened to other people, where obviously my events and hospitality company, we couldn't trade because of COVID. But what happened was this, I found that it took me a while to make a decision, and I'm really pleased to know that I've made the decision of which way to move forward and push forward in terms of expertise. And I'm really happy with working on a new product, a new brand. We're starting to recruit staff. It's not going to be easy, but where we're going to become an expert, I'm so excited. But also, what I've realized is this, that I've learned something new about fear, which is the fear of the pandemic, the fear of the lockdown, the fear of it happening again. So one of the things that I thought about, and when I wrote down how I wanted to change and adjust the business, that obviously you understand, and if this makes sense to you and you're running a business but you've not quite fully optimized it, but you've kept trying to break through as I have, you've made a living in terms of training, education, events, but it's not what it used to be. You've still got your other investments going on outside of that, but your core business has struggled. So I wanted to make sure that what I drive forward with is a business that's protected from COVID. In other words, it's on the growth side of COVID. I wanted to make sure it's something that I love. I wanted to be passionate about it. But as Alfie says, Bradley, become the expert. Focus on the one thing and don't move from it.
Absolutely.
Now, this was a scary thing for me, and I think many people are facing this. So I think this is pertinent because we've got all these skills in our box where we've got all these experiences.
Yeah.
But then we've got to make a decision to go into one thing and stick to it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we start doing it and we can.
And it's quite scary because you think, what if it doesn't work?
Exactly. But this is the point, right? So how do we help people? Because I've made my decision now and I will be absolutely focused on it. How do we help people to stay focused on becoming their expert? Because there is business people watching and they may be in a dilemma and they may need to move into something that they're enjoying, that they're going to grow, that's COVID proof, and they can really enjoy profitability. You've got to stick at it, right, Ali? Because if you do 12 things, all you do is dilute your brand. So how do we help them to stay focused on that, even when it doesn't work initially and it only works through persistence and repetition? Because they're going to go back to what they least enjoy.
Well, first of all, if you don't try it, you don't know. As Harry Hill says, Fight. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Right? As Harry Hill always says, the only way to find that is to fight, right? So you're gonna only find that if you try it. You have a go at it, right? Then you have to make sure before you start, you have to start with your why. Why are you starting on something? Because if you get in halfway through and then you suddenly become disheartened and you feel like I'm not getting anywhere, this is not gonna have no end, I'm not gonna get to the end of it. You have to ask yourself, why did you start this journey? I did a reel the other day for Instagram, and it had like 6,000 views and everything. I just said this: every time you feel like you want to give up, just remember, why did you start this journey? All you have to do is just focus on your why. That's why it's so important. You should not start anything unless you have a very strong why for it. That's gonna help you to make sure you're gonna continue. But to only know if it's gonna work or not is just to try. When I was going to open my school of trading, for example, as I was a driving instructor, and I was teaching for somebody else. You can't believe this, but I wrote in my life plan in 2030, I'm going to open my school of trading. But then when I stopped working as a driving instructor in January, and then from March, you couldn't go to work anymore because of COVID, all driving instructors stayed at home. I was actually really bored, sitting at home doing nothing for 2-3 months. I said, you know what if I start teaching what I love? And I love doing trading. So I start teaching it. And I put the post on Facebook and I said, who wants to learn trading? Because I've been teaching it for another bigger company and they decided to not to continue because of the COVID. And I said, this could be my opportunity. Instead of opening it in 2030, I can open it in 2020, 10 years early. Look, all is going to happen. Maybe I have to close it and go back again. And then I'm going to reopen it again in 2030 as I planned it. But let me try it. Only we're going to know if we try. So I set up a free webinar, and then here we are, 24 people sign up on that day. I actually had to stop people paying me because I had one fear that day. Where is my accountant? Because I didn't know what to do with all that money. Seriously, seriously, I tried to call my accountant and he would not answer his phone. He was stuck in Pakistan and he wouldn't answer his phone. And I didn't know what to do with this much money because as a driving instructor, only 8,000 or 9,000 pounds was coming in. And suddenly, not just that people sign up to the course, suddenly my investment started to go up as well, nearly £500,000. It was going up. And I didn't know, I'm a driving instructor. I only know how to deal with £20,000. Suddenly, this much money coming to my account. How am I going to deal with this? What do I do with it? I need a new team. I need a new... That fear of success also stopped me. I made people to stop paying me. Don't pay me anymore. Don't buy my because I didn't know what to do with it. The fear. And then I contacted my accountant and he said, calm down. You just do whatever you think you are good at. I leave the rest to me.
That's it, the expert field. It's interesting conversation. Let me spin it on its head slightly, if I may. There's an old saying, right? Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And many times, right, I've rushed in where I've not thought something through. And there's not been fear. Actually, it's been the opposite of not having fear. There's been so much courage, but there perhaps at times hasn't been a preventative or a double check before rushing into something. So there's an opposite of being afraid where you're not afraid, you're courageous and you just go for it. And if you don't double check certain procedures and systems or think through what you're doing, you can then have a really terrible stumble and a fall.
Calculated risk. Always take calculated risk. Don't just jump in. Always calculated risk. I calculated it on my skill for 6 years, 7 years. I've been learning the skill. I did the training. I've been mentoring for somebody else. I've been qualified as a wealth coach. Then I decided to take that risk and open my own company. But if I haven't done all that training and all that learning, I would not take that risk because, of course, I would have failed. It's like I'm going to open a pizza shop without knowing how to make the pizza, how to have a team, how to know anything about it. Of course, I'm going to find a rat in my pizza shop the next day and they're going to close it down because I don't know how to deal with the hygiene part of it even. Right? Calculated risk is a good risk. Uncalculated risk is gambling, is dangerous. You have to have fear of that.
It's great. It's not quite what I meant, but that answer was brilliant in terms of calculated risk. What I meant was this, that somebody has the courage and the strength to take action, right? and taking action and moving forward in anything is everything. And
Absolutely.
obviously, as you say, the calculated risk, right? A lot of people find the courage and the strength to move forward. And as they move forward, they get bitten, they get hurt, they get rejection, setback, or something happens to them where they don't make a success of it. Obviously, what we have to do is suck it up. We have to learn from those experiences and try not to repeat them. But there's many times in business we have to keep repeating something, refining a process before ultimately we make it successful, or we're printing money, we're generating income, we're employing people, we're providing a great service to customers. But there's a lot of people where they get the courage to do something, they get bitten either over a long period of time, and then they'll go into their shell because they don't think they can find the strength again to get back up. Now, of course, we know that they can. So where somebody's gone through that experience where they've been battered down and they don't have the strength to get back up, it's like, I give up, I'm going to go back and get a job, whatever the case may be. Now, some people need to because they're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. But if they are an entrepreneur, they will continue to find a way because their why drives them. The people that get hurt and they're doubting themselves to get back up, and there's many out there right now from COVID and challenges, there's many people that don't even want to accept or say, yeah, that hurt, I don't care, I don't mind sharing my successes and sharing my pain because I think it's human. But for those people that are lying down there TKO, they're in pain, they don't really want to say, Jesus, I'm really hurting here, I don't know if I can get back up. There is something that we have to help them, a voice or something. How do we help them to get back up if they've experienced that? Because I love it when people get back up. You know, as Les Brown said, if you're going to fall down, fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. You know, and I've had to get up 6 times during COVID and keep fighting. It's only now that I got to the point, like, I've got it. I've got the solution. I know the way forward. And I've said that 6 times.
Still, you don't know. Maybe you fail again. You know, maybe. At least you don't have no regret. You tried it.
Yeah, with no skin left, you know, crawling along. But there's got to be someone there at that moment, whether it's a mum, a dad, a friend, a person, that if you're battered from the fight, that you have to find the strength inside yourself to get up. We know that. But there's also other things you need around you to help support you. If a boxer goes down, he gets TKO, the crowd, if they're supporting him, is, come on, get up, get up, get up.
Yes.
Right.
And that is what is getting him up.
Will, but there's also support.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You help people, support people, right?
Yes. So what we have to do, we have to help people to change the story they're telling each other. That they're telling themselves, not each other, telling themselves. We have to make them to leave the community which they are in, and that community is supporting them to stay in pain instead of supporting them to come out. Because who is around you? You know, they're showing you sympathy. Oh, I feel sorry for you. Oh, you know, this is not support. This is not helping. This is helping you to stay where you are. This is helping you to stay struggle, because they don't tell you the truth. They want you to stay there at the same level as them. So we need to help you to find the right friend. They change the environment around you, right people around you. And also, you know, today I had a discussion with my son. You know, I'm trying to train him to be an entrepreneur, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you don't give up until you win, right? So, and you're gonna keep trying. This is how I am. Like, sometimes he said to me, sometimes you don't sleep at night, you know. I said, because I've got to work on this to see if this is working or not. And at the moment, we got 5 or 6 businesses running, so I need to make sure I'm, you know, organizing all this right. And today I saw he's sitting here. He's only 15 years old. And he's got a business which already is earning, like, you know, a lot of money, bringing inside the house. I saw he's sitting here upstairs. I said, what's wrong with you? He said, I don't think my Instagram is going to work because I can't work it out how to get more followers on Instagram. I said to him, why did you start the internet marketing course? He said, because I love internet. I said, if you love internet, are you doing it because of the likes, or are you doing it because you love internet? He said, because I love internet. I said, so who cares if they're going to like your stuff or they're going to share your stuff? Why did you start this journey? Why did you start this company to teach people about internet? Right? Because obviously, as an internet marketing person, you need to keep trying different way to see what works, what it doesn't work, and then you come and teach it to other people, isn't it? Right? It costs a lot of money because you have to run lots of different ads to see which one is working, which one is not working. Then you can come and teach somebody else. He said to me, well, last 4 weeks I've been posting and nobody's following me. So no followers were added. I said to him, and today 1 at 1:30 we have to post, isn't it? He said yes. I said let's do it. He said I don't want to do it. I feel like just go back to school and I don't want to do it. He's only 15. I said to him, we can go back to school anytime you want, but let's have a go at this again. We posted one more reel, and suddenly he had 20 more extra followers. Suddenly, yeah, I love it, right? And he started making posts for tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Encouragement. Of course, we need encouragement, but the thing is, we have different kind of plans in this program, right? It depends if you are choosing to be one-to-one mentor, or like a long-term coaching, which is a 1-year program we have. It depends what kind of program you're going to be choosing, but you have to understand this fear inside you created. It hasn't have been created overnight, because so many times you've been bitten. This time you're scared to get up because you're scared. What if I get up again and then I can't make it? What if I get up again and it's not going to work? You got to get rid of these stories. You got to delete these stories. What if it works, right? What if you tried it and it worked? While you're lying down, you always can go back to sofa and lie down on the sofa and keep saying, oh, I'm scared, I'm not going to try this. But what if you tried it? What if you opened that door and there was a sun behind that door and it was the light you wanted? You always can close the door and stay in your dark room.
100%. And now look, let's flip the switch onto successful people, highly successful people, right? And these people that are highly successful, everybody knows there is a determination, there is an attitude, there is a desire to show up every day to keep pushing forward. But also, I've worked with a lot of successful people. Now, successful people, most of the people that I've met, like as many of you know, I've worked with some fairly high profile people. But with the successful people, normally it's their fear that drives them on. It's their fear of not being successful that drives them on. It's their fear of not being the top of their game, the top retail giant in ladies wear,
yes,
the top park home operator.
They use the opposite.
The fear of losing their success or losing their title that can just drives them on to keep pushing forward.
Absolutely.
And they also have fears. Alfie has fears, but you can either I think Alfie says you can either let your demons kill you, destroy you, or they can drive you on to greatness. Successful people use their fear to drive them on to greater levels of success, because there's two types of stress for me in business. There's the stress of losing money or not making money and trying to stay alive through, a recession, a pandemic, whatever the case may be. And then there's the stress of making money all the time, and you've got to keep making money for your company to grow and keep moving forward and show an increase in your asset value, your profitability, depending on where you're taking it, or your growth, your bottom line, your top line numbers, etc., and your position in the market. So even highly successful people have fears. And when somebody is in a fear position where they're growing, they've been successful or lost it, they forget that successful people equally have fears, but it's a slightly different dynamic of fear. So how would you define the difference in fear between somebody that's really been suffered, like a retail, hospitality, events company, they've got this fear, they've been really hurt and in pain through the pandemic, and somebody who's really successful, that's growing their business forward, and the fear of not being the top of the game? How would you differentiate that emotion, thought, and feeling between those two types of business owners?
Well, the person, if both of them, they are in the same industry, and one of them is thriving really well, you have to see what he's done. Has he adapted? Has he pivoted? What has he done to be able to still thriving? Is that they done something extra? Have they went out of their way to make extra contract with the hospitals, maybe to offer their services to somebody else in a different way? What have they done? But some people, they just choose to just close the doors and just go home. They didn't try to pivot. They just wanted to do the same routine, wake up in the morning, go and do something, and suddenly it goes back again to the story of Who Moved My Cheese, isn't it? That book.
Yeah, absolutely.
If somebody's been scanning the environment, right? Yep. I was scanning the environment, and looking at the chart, I knew the recession is coming. I didn't know it's going to be a massive pandemic like this, but I was preparing myself, for a massive pandemic. Now, one of the things you mentioned about, I'm not saying I'm a successful person, but uh,
We are
what uh,
successful.
but what happened is,
We are successful.
but the thing is, like, one of the reason I have that drive to keep doing stuff is because of the inspiration I'm creating for my kids. And I feel like if I give up, and I hope if you are listening and you have kids and you have a family, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
If I give up and I don't have a go again when I'm falling, what they gonna think?
yeah.
What
Well,
example I'm setting for them? They
this
are
is
looking at me and all their hope is just me. What if I wake up in the morning and say, you know what, that's it. I think this is the end of the world and I'm not gonna change anymore. I'm not gonna do anything anymore. What they're
mm,
gonna feel? They're gonna
yeah.
give up as well, isn't it? So as long as the universe is not giving up on me, as long as my kids are not giving up on me, as long as Bradley and you guys are not giving up on me, and I'm not gonna give up on myself, I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep making sure I inspire people.
But you know, this is what's really great about you because, you know, not only
I
have you
can't
had
give up. I can't give up because I feel
you've
like
put
I'm
all
letting
this
everybody down.
study and education and learning and information into your brain, the qualifications, the learning, the studying, the relentless studying about mind and psychology and people and courses, and you've consistently continued to develop yourself. And because of that development, you've got to the point where you're now, I mean, we've just completed the 10 chapters of the book. It's now going through editing to get it into the first edit stage. And off the back of that, you're creating a program through your own circumstances of learning. And if people haven't watched the broadcast before, Ali died for 12 or 14 minutes, I think it was.
17 minutes, but the ambulance they came 10 minutes after the event, and they said for 7 minutes you've been dead, completely dead for last
Yeah,
7 minutes, and he
yeah.
couldn't believe. He said, "You just came back, and I thought you are dead. Everything was finished."
And this was a motorbike
Altogether, about
accident.
17 minutes altogether. Yeah.
And this is in Ali's book. The first chapter of Ali's book
Mhm.
opens up, and I don't want to share the book yet, but the first chapter goes straight into the moment Ali left his house in a morning in 2000 and was it no
2014,
2014, got on his motorbike through
July
certain
2014.
circumstances,
Sorry,
and
April 10th of April 2014, exactly.
and the next minute he's skidding along the floor his motorbike, and he had a life-changing experience, but he died on scene and he was brought back. And that's how his book starts. It's quite an explosive and dramatic start. And what Ali's doing now is now creating a program to help people to be understand their minds and think more effectively, and then to take that more enhanced mind into their businesses to grow their wealth. And he's also a forex coach and trainer, crypto trainer. So he either helps you to invest your money for a better return, or he helps to train you to become one of his coaches under Minds to Wealth. So it's going to be an exciting time. But you've been through this incredible journey of change, and also you must be going through, you know, this anticipation of my new book coming out, my new course coming out. How's it going to be received? How people are going to receive me?
Absolutely.
It's only natural, and I'm going through it too at the same time as you, because I'm also launching this new business, which is, well, it's a refined business of what I have been doing. And we'll have to leave it up to everyone to guess what it's going to be, but yours is clear. It's awakening your financial and mental wealth on your book. Minds to Wealth is your course program, and you've also then got sort of trading and finance behind that. Now, the audience doesn't yet know, people watching, what it is we're going to be specializing in. But what you do know is this, that we did property training, we did park home and retirement and holiday park sort of training education. And of course, we did business coaching. And there are a number of other facets within that. One of those things I am pushing forward with, and to become the expert, and we should be live. I don't want to put a date in it, but we're going to be live soon. But it's exciting for me too, because we're both at a very similar stage. We both embraced change, positivity, overcome major adversity, still keep getting back up. And also now we've said, okay, we've got to enhance slightly. Where's the market? COVID, what do we need to do? What skills have we got? And how do we bring something to the market? So you must be really excited as well and chomping at the bit to be able to really deliver all of this 15 years of development to help
But
people. You
that's
must
the
be.
thing. You go through something is totally different than creating a step for other people to follow your footstep to be able to do the same thing. That's another thing. That's
Yeah.
quite different thing. Now, since we start doing this broadcast, we have lots of people. They send me message. Ali, when your program is out? Ali, when your program? And I actually thinking I really need to meet everybody's expectation. The only fear I have is I keep telling you, Bradley, am I going to be able to meet people's expectation? It has to be amazing. It has to be awesome. It has to be brilliant. We have to make sure everything is perfect. And he keeps saying it is, because look, he's got you there. So, it's going to help other people as well.
Well,
You're
this
going to have
is,
that fear anyway, so.
well, that's a really honest fear. It's the same for me. But, what we do is we embrace that fear, and we accept that when we go live on launch day, and we're probably going to be launching our businesses at the very similar time. So we're both going through a very similar motion, and we have been. And when we go live, we know that actually we'll go live with the best version of the business that we can be. But we also know that the more we try, the more we apply, the more we execute, we refine the business offering, and it can only get better and better and better and better as long
Yeah.
as you're looking to continually improve and give greater value in terms of your market. But look, here's the other thing about fear. And actually, I'm going to be putting on a little event to help people with this, right? Is to be able to become the expert in your field. Because look, I spent the last 18 months shadowing and watching, Alfie. And he's always said to me since day one, you've got to become the expert, you've got to become the expert, you've got to focus on one thing, you've got to focus on one thing. And we was having a conversation a couple of weeks back. You've been like a kid in a sweet shop, everything that shines, you've wanted to touch and experience.
Yeah.
Well, of course I have, because it's not very often that you get an opportunity to be invited into the life of someone successful as Alfie, and you want to learn as much as you can. And it's by COVID and circumstances now brought me to choose one of these things. And I'm so excited. But if I hadn't have experienced the pandemic, which has added a whole new emotion of business and what I feel is going to be right for the future in terms of making sure my business is on the 50% side that grows regardless of the pandemic, as to being on the other side where it got hugely effective. I'm not putting myself on that side of stress again. Right?
People who they joined our forex course in July last year, they are the people, they're going to be making millions of pounds in the next recession, which is going to happen in 12 years time, 10 to 12 years time. Why? Because they literally went through the recession. They was learning through the recession. They know exactly what they have to. How do you think I made my money through recession? It's because I was learning through the last recession, and I knew how to deal with the recession time, right? Because I was learning and I was watching my mentor going through the recession and launching business and starting business and doing all this stuff during the recession, right? So that inspired me, and I did exactly the same thing this year for myself after I done the learning. Now the people who they joined my course, they did the same thing. Most of them, they earned the money they paid for the course anyway already, right? And they already have the experience of going through the recession by watching me and what I'm doing and what I'm investing in. So next time is their turn. You can't be a learner all the time. You're gonna become the master, and you're gonna become the expert yourself one day after you've done all the learning. So that's the hope you have to have. I done the learning, and I ripped the fruits as well. So yeah.
And just to come back to the closing off of the show, let's go back to fear. I've just put up a couple of banners there, working with like-minded people, which is what we always talk about, learning and moving forward. But when we started the show, it was about fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. If you're watching right now and you've been trapped in some kind of fear, it's time to really surround yourself with inspired people. Get yourself around the right people. Take a breath, breathe in, look at what it is that you've got in terms of your skill set, your abilities. Look at what it is that you can extract from the lesson of any pains, and take the best bits forward with you. because a mistake or a setback is only a mistake or a setback if you don't do anything about it to try to move forward again and improve. So don't get trapped in fear. Ali is not trapped in fear. He has not stopped learning and studying, and at the same time he's also teaching his family to become entrepreneurs, his wife, his son, his children. So Ali, your course is based around your education. Now you're going to be covering fear amongst many other things. Can you just explain to people that's watching the rebirth model, the 7 cogs of the rebirth model, which is essentially your training module that you've developed yourself? Could you just run through the 7 modules? Would that be okay?
The rebirth model, if I can share it, because when you share it on here, it's so small.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be able to get the logo up big enough for people to be able to see it, but explain it to them so that they can sit and understand what these 7 modules are, because I think the amount of money you've spent on investing in yourself to be able to create this course and program is really going to help people. I mean,
I don't know if you have it or not, but here's the model.
Yeah, let me just whack it up there. I'm going to take myself off screen.
These are the steps I took.
Give you some room.
These are the steps I took, and we go through it, in a book as well. You have to make sure, rebirth model is a start from the raise your standard. You have to raise your standard. You have to stop the negative stories you're telling yourself. Then we have the effort to change your story. You have to try to change that story to have better stories, better yourself. You have to stop the negative training. You have to set role model for yourself. Then inspire yourself. You have to do meditation. You have to watch motivational speakers. You have to read book. And also reset your belief. This is very important by taking action, to create certainty, to achieve your full potential. Because when you are not taking action and you're just holding back, you are not seeing no result. And when you don't see no result, you don't have no belief. And then you're creating false belief for yourself. So your self-belief is going to go down, because also you're not going to achieve any result, And then is going to train yourself in making good decision. Making good decision, you actually need to be able to train yourself. It's not something it just suddenly pops out in your head. You have to train yourself to make good decision, and that's what we do in our Forex training. We train people to be able to make good decision, and also hold 100% all the way. You have to give it all. The same as relationship, not just in business, even in relationship, everywhere. If you don't give it your 100% and you're expecting somebody else to give some percentage, what if they don't? If you're waiting for your brother to start a business and then you go and share with them, why don't you go and start yourself? What if your brother decide not to start ever? If you're waiting for your wife to make you a tea, why don't you go and make the tea for your wife first? And then you see next time she's going to make it for you. Why don't you give the 100% instead of expecting other people to give the 100%? Give it the 100% and you will win. I promise you. I gave it 100%. I never expect anybody to do anything for me, or not even put 50% in. But you know what? When I put the 100% in, when somebody comes like Bradley, gives me 50%, yes, I've got 150% now, not 100%, because I gave it 100% anyway. Last week he was sick. I could have said, you know what? I'm not going to go and do the show. But I sat here, I designed my brand, I did everything on my own computer, and I just launched, I just did it. Right? But today, he's here, he's giving me another 50%. So I'm actually over 100%. This is what you have to see. Give it 100%, give it all, and you will win.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ali Shahraki. Did you like the way that we've changed the screens now, and Ali's on the left and I'm on the right?
I'm confused. Why am I deciding?
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. Let me just change that again. Hang on, Ali. Let me just see. Look, hang on now. Just hold on 1 second.
Stop changing.
Right. Look at that.
Stop changing. I hate change.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Shahraki is the creator of Minds to Wealth, and just in a couple of weeks now, we've got the final draft of Ali's book. We've been working together, working through this incredible book, and it's a book that's not been easy to do, because when we're coaching or publishing a book, if we write a biography for someone, then we ask them a question, we listen to what they're saying, and we convert it into words. But this is quite complex, because this book is a self-help book designed for you to read it and want to make effective changes. And every stage of the way through the book, it reminds you why you're doing what you're doing, your why, and where you're going. And it really is going to be a powerful tool to help you make transition, change, and achieve outstanding growth in your business and in your personal life. So we'll be celebrating the launch and publication of Ali's book, hopefully in a couple of weeks. My editor, Kim, is working around the editor. We'll then go back to Ali with the edits, make adjustments and changes before we agree to move it forward. And then, of course, we'll be celebrating printed copies, and Ali will be sending out signed copies and everything else. And then, of course, it's Ali then launching his program, and everybody that comes into the program, which is going to be incredible. It really is. And I with Ali's a forex trader, and personally, every time someone tries to catch me on a forex basis, and I get them every day, I'm a forex guy, I just don't pay attention. But because of Ali and his story, there's an incredible transition and a relentless attitude in this man, that he's being relentless again to help you move forward and understand that minds are really important and wealth is really important, as we know. Ali, listen, it's been an incredible it really has an incredible journey. You're an incredible guy, a family man, driven to succeed, and just still pushing yourself to learn every single day. My kind of man. So we're going to be live, and maybe next week on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on your Facebook, Minds to Wealth. And maybe what we'll try to do is to try to line up a couple of guests and get a little bit of really great energy going as we get closer to your book launch and your program launch. But Ali, take us off air for now. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can connect with you, and the usual bits and pieces, and give them that final finishing words and inspiration on fear and how they can move forward.
Thank you for tonight to join us. Search on any social media for Minds to Wealth, and you're going to find us there, especially on Facebook. You're going to see all the lives. Just you have to search Mind number 2, and then Wealth is Minds, S at the end, is not Mind. So Minds to Wealth, as you can see underneath this video, on any social media, and you can find us. Now, what you can take from tonight is work on yourself, to make sure you stop making assumptions. Assumptions wrecks relationships. Assumptions, this is come from experience. I'm not telling you this because I read few books. This is all come from experience. I used to be a bad person, right? Because I used to make assumptions. I used to make assumptions why my wife is putting makeup on, why my wife is doing this, why my wife is doing that, creating that in myself, causing damage to my own relationship, right? Assumptions ruins relationships, so don't do it. Assumptions ruins your belief. Assumptions ruins your wealth. For you to become wealthy and start making money, I didn't believe in this. For 3 years, my mentor was saying this to me, and I was thinking, he's just messing around. He don't want to teach me. But he kept saying to me, Ali, you need to work on your brain. I was thinking, what's wrong with my brain? There's nothing wrong with my brain. He said, you need to change your expectation. You need to change your belief. And I was thinking, why is he talking? But he was 100% right. I didn't need to try to make money. The money just followed me, right? I don't want to brag about it, but just Dogecoin last week I made nearly £1,500 in half an hour. My wife said, how? I said, I just loved Elon Musk and I just followed his advice. He said, do this, and I did it in half an hour. He said, really? Look, I changed my mind, right? I believed the person. I believed in a role model, right? I followed the role model. He did something in that moment, and I did the same thing. He achieved results. I achieved result as well. Yeah, money. I didn't do it because of money. I did it because I love Elon Musk, because I love what he's standing for.
Very important words tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on fear, and a great finale for Mr. Ali Shahraki. Do go over to Ali's page, Facebook, Minds #2 Wealth. Find the page, like the page, catch up with Ali, connect with Ali. And obviously, there's very few people that we would work with and broadcast with over a 6-week basis while we're sort of working together. Ali, was a guy that we just felt that we had to work with, because anybody that's standing up during these current climate and changes to help people improve, move forward, engage, is definitely worthwhile looking at. So find him on Facebook as well, Ali Shahraki, Wealth Coach. Connect with him on his page, Minds to Wealth. And Ali, thank you very much indeed for tonight's information and discussion on fear has 2 meanings. So we can face, we can forget everything and run, or we can
face everything and rise.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening. On behalf of myself, good night, and from Ali, good night. See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Cheers.